the person I hung out with for a while is a man named Stuart Emery. And he popped off from this thing called EST a long time ago. There was this stuff called EST. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but in my day, everybody heard of it. And all had an opinion about what Werner Erhard was doing. In any case, and Werner Erhard, one of his sort of repeated things that he did was try to get across to people that they create their reality, they create, which was in its way valid. However, when they would come to Stuart, and Stuart, a lot of them would come from S because, he did, and they would, he'd talk to them, and what Stuart would do is very interesting. Want to hear?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You drug it out of me. A friend of mine, Daniel, came to me someday. I did a lot of contemplation intensives and stuff. I was in enlightenment, blah, blah, blah. I had some lectures. And he came and he said, there's this guy. He gets like 100 people in the room. And then he puts one person up on the stage and he rips the shit out of them in front of 100 people. And I said, let's do it. Okay, that sounds great. And so we did. Okay, and that's pretty much what he did too. I mean, he did other things, but he would get somebody up on there. And, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so people, see, they get up on the stage and they would do their act, their self-act. See, they would be the way they be. You following me a little bit here? They would play the victim or the bully or the seducer or the charming person or the funny person or whatever. They do what they do. People, whatever people do, whatever it is. And accommodation. And he would just call them on it, especially the major stuff. Bam, bam, bam. And, destroy them. And he was never being ruthless. He was never like saying bad things. He was just saying, no, you're fat. And you're hiding behind your fatness, whatever. No, you're an asshole. And see, take a look. No, see what you just said? Blah, blah, blah. So he did it really well. Okay, right? And nobody could do it the way he did it. That's why it didn't continue, that work. But he would do that. And of course, everybody in the audience would relate to stuff up there, And so they would go through things in the audience too. And he would take, person after person. And what he would do is he would keep them up there and he would make it so painful for them to continue with their act that they dropped it. See, he made it more painful to keep the act than to drop it. And just to be a person and be vulnerable and be there. You see? And when they did that, say thank you, and they get down. You see? And he'd do that over and over again. Very unusual way of working. And it's fascinating because, and I worked for him for a while, and when somebody would come down, after they go up, and they're just like a person, all kind of compact and everything, right? They go up, they do this thing, they go through maybe half hour, whatever, up there, hour maybe, sometimes took a long time, and when they would get down, and they were just being a person, right? They were bigger, seriously, much bigger. They would walk amongst the little people, sitting in there. I mean, you would see, it's like they'd be like, whoa. And they're just like, and they were somehow bigger, it's not physically, they grow, but they just looked bigger. They just looked bigger. I found that interesting, as an aside. Anyway, so that's what he did. That was interesting. See, but in order to do that, you have to have a contrast to what's really true and what's the act. Otherwise, how do you go at it? Another way to say that is you have to be able to see a being there, see, that's free from all the crap they've got, going on, see, and be able to go after the crap and free the being, kind of thing. make a distinction. So, in here, you're going to get some opportunities to be able to do more and more of that kind of thing.